Alrighty, today we'll be studying macro features and micro features and how they relate to dance. It is important to know that for every dance, there are micro and macro features. The macro features identify the dance with the form of generality. Macro features consist of the who, what, when, where, why, and how. The micro features consist of space, force, time, and energy. The micro features are more specific features of macro features, and they may be a little bit harder for people to understand if they don't have the dynamic understanding or research adequate to understanding microfeatures. Alrighty, as you can see here, there is a pie chart which describes the macrofeatures in 6 equal sections, each naming one of the 6 features in the macrofeatures. They are the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Firstly, there is the who, which states the persons or individuals doing the dance or performance. For example, these who characters might be dance students, dance professionals, street artists. A more specific example might be the TJC drill team. The what defines a situation and why it is happening. For example, a rehearsal, a performance, or a rite of passage ceremony. Another specific look at an example might be the Nutcracker. The when identifies the specific time in which the activity is held, the date, time, and the duration of time. For example, the dance performance might be held July 2020 at 12:30 p.m. The where indicates a specific physical location. An example of location might be the Sydney Opera House, held in Australia. The why determines the purpose of the dance. It tells why they are dancing or performing. Some level of cultural understanding is required in order to determine the purpose of the dance, or the why. For example, in an American wedding, it is common tradition that the first dance be shared between the husband and the wife. For an individual attending, he must understand the American tradition, and in order to understand the celebration, he must know the groom and bride personally, or maybe an extended friend or family. The how is also essential. One must understand the dance and how it works. In order to do the dance, one must learn the steps and how they correlate with one another. For example, once again, at an American wedding, or at least the American weddings I've been to, at the end of the first dance, the groom may dip his new wife and give her a kiss. In order to do this move, a certain amount of strength and balance is required, and a lot of time and practice is put into this dance to know how to perform this move to near perfection. Secondly, we're going to dive deeper into the microfeatures, which consist of space, time, force, and energy. Space consists of movement type, formation, the body types, the body parts, and their patterns. It may also consist of the size in space. The movement itself consists of both locomotive movement, for example, running, and stationary movement. An example of stationary movement might be stretching. The difference between the two is that locomotive movement is able to run freely throughout time and space, while stationary movement is, well, stationed in one spot in time and space. Formation. Under space is formation. Formation tells how a dancer creates and transfers from one move to another, creating rhythms and patterns. Most formations occur quickly and are very complex. Because of the complexity and their speed, it is very hard to organize each individual movement or formation into equal sections or parts. The silograph or xylograph is a silhouette and a photograph smashed together. The silograph helps one study the body of the dancer without using the color, facial expressions, movements, or sounds. A xylograph might be helpful for new students or people studying dance to identify a dance and the dance moves without using any of those above listed descriptions. Lastly, in space is proxemics, which refers to the perception and use of space. Secondly, we have time. Under the microfeatures, time relates to dance and how it correlates to music. Time consists of rhythm, the grouping of beats or to form a pattern, duration, the length of the pattern, and tempo, the pattern and its speed. There are also accents, which personify or a quiet a part of the beat, getting louder or softer, creating a crescendo or decrescendo in the rhythm. Altogether, it creates a meter. The meter is based off the rhythm, and whether the rhythm repeats itself every single time and is the same every single time, the meter may be even. But if the rhythm is inconsistent and different every time, the meter is uneven. Lastly, we have energy and force. Energy is divided into 5 categories. Sustain, which is consistent and smooth. Percussive, which has various starts and stops. Swing, which is side-to-side movements. Collapse, which is the sudden falling in a movement. And vibration, which is the isolation of the body part or the body in very fast, short movements. Force, lastly, is force. Force makes movements hard or soft, fast or slow, wide or small. Force gives energy to the movement. When studying having dynamics, it studies energy and force, but it may be difficult to identify the specific force or the dynamics because there are just so many of them. There are numerous different activities being done at the same time. Force helps identify the energy. If a person is very into the dance, you might see more energy and more force to their actions. But if they're not so into the dance or they're not having a great day, you can really tell the energy drops and the force of their movements might drop as well. To conclude, macro features and micro features help dancers to understand how to do the dance, as well as researchers to understand the importance of the dance, why one might dance, etc.